Hello everyone, my name is Rob Atlas, and welcome aboard to Pod from Another World, Episode 0. And let me tell you, this podcast has been a long time coming, but now I'm finally able to start recording some episodes and start releasing them. And I figured I'd start off with this Episode 0 to kind of introduce the podcast and what it's going to be about, and probably answer any questions anyone might have about the podcast. And the first question I want to answer is, as for the hosting situation, it will just be me for now, for the foreseeable future. Would I like another host in the future? Yeah, I would, but for right now, I kind of want to just do it on my own. Which brings me to the original name of the podcast. Since I was going to do it by myself, or am doing it by myself, I figured the original name would be Standalone Podcast. You know, kind of a play on words from Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex. But that name was already taken. And also, like I said, I would like another host, so if I were to add another host, the name wouldn't really mean anything anymore, or just wouldn't make sense. So then after a little more thought and thinking of everyone's favorite anime genre, Isekai, I figured, why not Pod from Another World? And then the name was a little funny to me because then I started playing, well, if you're watching on YouTube, you could see this window behind me because I kind of turned this room I'm in into a spaceship. Specifically, one of those escape pods. So that's, if you hear me doing any kind of like space references, that's why. Because technically, I am in a spaceship. And then as for the From Another World part, in this podcast, I do want to talk about anime. More specifically, I kind of just want to talk about pop culture stuff. The majority of that being anime because it's what I love the most. But it won't be just limited to anime because I'm also interested in comics, music, movies, art. So every now and then I might be talking about, or every now and then an episode might be talking about a specific topic from one of those categories. And if you're someone who doesn't know anything about any of those, you know, like let's just take anime for an example. If you don't know anything about anime, and if you were to hear me speak about it or anyone else have a conversation about it, it might as well sound like it's from another world. And you know, this podcast is me trying to find other like-minded people who, you know, speak the same language, which is that of, you know, just being a nerd and loving all the same nerdy topics that I like. The big one being anime. So if you're a big anime fan, stay tuned for future episodes. And also if you have any interest in comics, TV shows, music, any one of those things, then I'm pretty sure in the future I might put out an episode that might pique your interest. And as for how frequent will episodes upload, for right now, I would say at least once a month. And that's kind of a big gap, but you know, I'm still trying to upload to my regular YouTube channel. So I got to make content for that and, you know, just live stuff. And then aside from that, I'm also trying to go back to my old art account and try to post some videos there, which is also once a month. But who knows, maybe I'll get into the flow of making podcasts again because this isn't my first podcast I've ever had. So maybe I'll get back into the groove of it and it might become bi-weekly or maybe even weekly. But also kind of depends on how well this does. And as for where will this podcast be posted, I will be posting this on my YouTube channel. I won't be making a specific YouTube channel for the podcast, or at least not yet, but I will be posting it to my YouTube channel at Rob Atlas. And then aside from video form, it will be in audio form as well, obviously. So this video is out right now. If you're listening to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you can listen to podcasts, I'm pretty sure it will be uploaded there as well. But as for the video format, it will be on my YouTube channel at Rob Atlas. Please subscribe. And as for the episode lengths, honestly, I don't want to make it a 2-hour podcast or even an hour-long podcast, depending on the subject, but I do want to try to hit a 20 to 30 minute mark per episode, which is kind of quick for podcasts, but I don't want to make it an entire hour-long episode just yet. So for now, 20 to 30 minute episodes, except for this episode 0, because this one's just an introduction to the podcast. And also just know on my YouTube channel, there will be a little bit of editing. I won't be putting as much editing as like a regular YouTube video of mine, because I do want the main focus of the podcast to just be the topic at hand, you know, me speaking about it, the talking head portion of it, and don't really want to dilute it with a bunch of sound effects and everything, because I will be editing it for YouTube and then taking that audio and putting it up on Spotify and everywhere else. I'm not trying to get hit by a copyright claim from anything, just in case. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching or listening to this introduction episode, and see you in the next episode, episode 1 of Pod from Another World. My name is Rob Atlas, and I'll see you all next time.